today. So every day we start fresh because we can't affect the past, but we damn sure can make a difference today.
Welcome to episode 81 of Shop Talk. It's Jennifer
and Kari.
And we're back after a brief break to recap 517 of the Rookie and 117 of the Rookie Feds. The Elijah and Abriel storylines were finally resolved during the Rookie Feds crossover event last week. And these two episodes definitely kept us on the edge of our seats with high stakes moments. And I mean, they did wrap up the storylines pretty nicely. I also feel like they kind of opened up a few new ones that'll probably carry us into the rest of the season. So yeah, we'll go ahead and talk about those. We do have episode descriptions for the Rookie Feds. Do you want to take us through the first, like that one for 118?
Yeah. So the episode description for 118 is called Seeing Red. After a group of robbers steal a diplomatic pouch, Naomi and the Feds work to prevent an international counterfeit scandal. While Garza reconnects with an old friend, Brendon's sponsor relapses and he rethinks his relationship with Antoinette. So that'll be the episode that we have the promo for, that's airing the 21st of March.
Okay. And there's still no episode description for the Rookie on 321.
Although we finally got the promo, which is the true crime. This is the third one?
I think so. I was going to say 3.0 or 4.0, but like more importantly, Sava and Jake are back. So yeah. Well,
I mean, we kind of already knew that though, because like Eric is like the spoiler king and was like, let me just go. I mean, I can't blame him though, because like how else are you supposed to, you like go home and you like look like this, of course, like Rosalind's gonna say something, you know, like you go to your
I don't know, I didn't think that it was gonna be, I mean, unless he said it and I just forgot, I didn't think that it was gonna be Lucy too. Like I thought it'll probably just be him.
So either.
But
I don't know. Well, of course Melissa's kind of taken a social media break recently, so I don't know if like maybe she'll post, you know, like for that episode, maybe she'll post. I don't know.
Some like behind the scenes, like after it airs.
I'm still waiting for their like selfie.
I know.
Like, I need a hilarious selfie in their costumes.
Yes, please. I don't even care if it's Sava and Jake or Dim and Juicy. I don't care. I mean, I don't think that they're bringing back Dim and Juicy, but like they have to have had taken a screenshot of it, or not a screenshot, a picture of it when it happened. But like going back to the Fed's description, Brendon's sponsor relapses and he rethinks his relationship with Antoinette. That just has to be like he rethinks it because he's like, oh well, if the sponsor relapsed, like I could too, and maybe I shouldn't have the relationship, right? I mean, I feel like we've had a similar thing where he's like rethinking the relationship. It's kind of like on the rocks.
Yeah, and then it's like
now.
Or like he messes up and then you know they make up and they're fine, and I'm like, damn, why can't they just be happy?
Yeah, I know.
Like shoot,
because he's just so sunshiny. He is.
Yeah, I don't know, because like I haven't like. There's only one other show that I've ever seen that like has dealt with like alcoholism, relapsing, and like sponsors and things, and it's like, but never have I heard of a sponsor relapsing. I mean, I know that there are people that have went through the program like previously, and so that's why they can, you know, sponsor other people, but just I don't know, I'm interested to just see like what happens with that, and like if he's able to like keep focused at work still, and like so there'll be a lot going on in his personal life.
I was going to say, do we think that his dad comes back? But I don't see why his dad would come back. Well, I mean, I guess he could come back to cause trouble. So
well, because like I didn't expect to see him in the Feds like documentary episode for that like little blip of a scene that he was in, and so who knows, maybe we could see Tom Arnold's name in the guest credits again. I don't know.
And then Garza reconnecting with an old friend. Is that code name for Candace, his ex-wife?
I don't know, because that's the only person we've met. Like, we know he has two other ex-wives, but we haven't met them, so.
But I don't know if I would call her an old friend. I guess these episode descriptions can be very vague or like misleading, so it could be his ex-wife. who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
I would really love to see one of his sisters, mainly maybe Elena's
Yeah.
mom, because we've heard about his sister. So it'd be
Yeah.
fun to see.
Yeah.
That's not necessarily an old friend, but I would love to see it. So
Yeah.
And then ABC's press site released some stats for The Rookie and The Rookie Feds on February 27th. And they said that The Rookie's midseason premiere stood as the series' strongest telecast in adults 18 to 49 in nearly 3 years since May of 2020. While The Rookie Feds midseason return marked the series' most watched multi-platform telecast with 8.4 million viewers since its September debut. In addition, it had its highest rated multi-platform telecast among adults 18 to 49 since October. So that's exciting.
Yeah, we're doing good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Rookie midseason premiere, I know that the midseason finale, like the winter finale, had Chunford in it.
Yeah.
But what was the midseason premiere? I'm like
The
totally
midseason
blanking.
premiere was the like their first date.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
well,
Okay.
their attempt at a first date and then their redo.
That's
date.
right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, that was also kind of the episode where it was like their mid-season premiere was like touted as like the crossover episode
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Feds, so it was kind of like we
Yeah.
got a little bit of it.
So it makes sense why both of the mid-season returns are kind of the most
Yeah.
watched. Yeah, because they did do a lot of like promotion with the crossover. So
Yeah.
we've been getting a lot of quote unquote crossovers this season, which is nice to see, but
Mhm.
yeah, I have thoughts. So
Oh.
yeah. So and then we just have one last piece of news. Do you want to take us through it?
Yeah.
It's not really news, but
I mean, just as always, because we love their podcast.
yeah.
You guys should go listen to Eric and Rosalind's latest episode because their previews are just the perfect soundbite to like encapsulate their whole entire their dynamic just as podcast co-hosts and then as the husband and wife duo.
Yeah.
But they're just hilarious. So
they really are. I love them. They're a podcast that how there's some where you really have to sit there and listen to that and you can't do anything else during it.
Yeah.
There are podcasts where I'm like, okay, I can have this on.
Yeah.
In my headphones and still be doing work or doing stuff around the house and it's nice to have that. I mean, I still pay attention deeply to it, but yeah, it's nice to be able to have something where it's okay, I can do other things, kind of multitask with this one too. Yeah. And so we'll just get started with the Rookie 517. So this one was titled The Enemy Within. It was a good episode. I felt like it just kind of teed up for the Rookie Feds, which was fine. And I liked how they started the first two storylines and ended them pretty much before they really finished the Elijah one. The Nolan and Celina stuff. I mean, they did kind of finish it up at the end, but it was more so 3/4 of the way done. And then they kind of finished it up at the end. So yeah. But we'll start off with Elijah, Abril, Monica, and the team, just because that's the biggest storyline. And so Monica walks into the courthouse. She sees Chris, which I wasn't really expecting him to be there. I don't know why.
I forgot that people were saying that because people were theorizing, that he was going to be the I don't know. People were just thinking oh, this is where Chris finds out about Jennifer. And I'm like, why?
Yeah.
But I still didn't really understand why he was there. It didn't really make a lot of sense to me. Not that I mind, but I was just confused.
Yeah. So I didn't watch this episode live with everyone else. And so I knew nothing going into it, because I was not on Twitter or anything. So I was when Chris showed up, I'm like, why? Why is he here? And then I thought, well, he's maybe taking Wesley's spot in the DA on the case because Wesley can't be a part of it. But then Wesley was there too. So I was like, I don't know. This is kind of just, I don't know. It seems like Chris was just a filler, but yeah. So she's basically telling him that she almost feels bad about beating them in court again. And she's like, but I really don't. And so she's gloating, asking him about the most impressive part of her defense. And they're talking about Judge Rivas, and Monica's like, well, there was no evidence that he died of anything other than a heart attack. And so we kind of go over to the station. Tim's there with the rest of the LAPD, Grace briefing the team, getting everyone like up to speed on the team up between Elijah's organization and Abril's. And Gray's like, yeah, it's had real world effects on our streets. And there was an incident at a cookhouse in Vernon, leaving 7 people dead on the inside, and like a 10-year-old across the street, like caught a stray bullet. And so Gray's like, we need to start making their cost of doing business untenable. Like, you know, we know that Elijah's orchestrating a large buy, and Gray wants, you know, them to contact their CIs. So like we go back over to Monica, who's like walking through the courthouse parking garage, and she like goes to get into her car. She sees a man like walking up to her. So she like goes to turn around, I'm assuming to like run away, and she's sprayed in the eyes with pepper spray. So they like put a bag over her head, and we see that she's like out in the woods, quote unquote, and she's like meeting with Elijah, who has a gun in his hand. So I mean, that's cool. And he's just like, if you can't convince me why I should let you live, like I'm gonna feed you into the wood chipper. And his guys like fired the thing up, and it's horrible. And so Monica's like, well, I'm the reason that you're free, but you know, Elijah stops her by saying like that the FBI has all of the documents related to his business because of her. And she's like, it's your legitimate business. Like, you know, nothing's off the books or anything there. So Elijah's just like, you know, how can I trust you again? And so she reminds him that like she could have called her friendly prosecutor to get a deal, like, you know, to get a deal to get her out. But she dug in and got to work on the case or whatever. And, you know, the facts, like, you know, she ended up getting the DA's evidence thrown out. And that's because of her weapon, which is the law. And so Elijah's like, you know, there are more morally flexible lawyers in LA. And Monica's like, yeah, but none of them hate the LAPD and DA as much as I do right now. And so she's just like, you know, you're going to want to tap into my desire for vengeance, and that same desire that you have for Lopez and Wesley, I have that same desire too. So like he cuts off the zip ties of her, you know, asks what she has in mind. She's like, you know, I just want to like just use me to get inside, and it'll cost you some money and some players, but like it'll be worth it. And so Elijah's like, okay, well, what's the first step? And Monica's just like, you just have to hit me. So we don't see the actual hit happen, like thank God, because that's triggering. And so Monica just like walks into the DA's office, crashes Chris and Wesley's meeting, which like such a boss move right there, but I mean it's not like they were in court for it. So she like totally plays with Wesley, has him in her grip or whatever, and she's just like telling him that he was right, she was way in over her head, and that Elijah just made her beg for her life. And so Monica's talking to Gray, Chris, and Nyla, and Chris is just like, yeah, you know, we've got Elijah on the kidnapping and half a dozen other charges. But Monica's like, I'm not testifying. Like, even if he's convicted, he'll still have me killed from prison. And again, she's totally playing into what they want to hear. And so Nyla's just like, what good are you then? And she's just like, well, I know about his plans. Like, he's expanding. And the team's like, well, we already know about Brill. So like, what else do you have? And Monica's like, I can give you intel on things that, you know, you don't know about. But it has to be intel that they could have gotten some other way. And so she's like, you know, I want to walk away with full immunity, and Elijah believing that I'm still loyal. And so Chris is like, the DA's office would love to see her prove it. And Monica's like, he has money problems. Like, not that he doesn't have money, he's actually got too much of it. And so it's millions of cash that he's been stockpiling. And she mentions that he's been looking for someone to launder it. And so she knows where and when they're going to meet with the money launderer later that day. And Nyla's like, if it's a trap, like, you're done. And Monica just insists that the intel is good. And so before Monica leaves, she reiterates that this needs to stay between them. And Gray's like, yeah, your cooperation will be guarded. And Nyla doesn't believe it. Gray's like, well, you know, I don't totally believe that she's good for this, but like, he's got moves that he's trying to make. So let's just see it play out. And so Wesley like walks in, he heard her offer. He shares that Monica's only loyal to herself. And like, all he knows for sure is that Elijah scared her. And when she's scared, she gets angry. So Gray's like, yeah, we'll need Metro if they, if we play this out. And so cue a call to Tim, which Tim is going through his own thing at this moment in the episode, which is hilarious, but we'll get to that later. And so Gray tells him that, he needs to go over to the DA's office while Metro like starts on and op in the afternoon. And Tim's just like, sure, but right now I can't. And he's like, I'll send 2 officers and go when I can. So Monica's sitting in the lobby of the DA's office. She's like having these flashbacks, which reminded me of Lucy's flashbacks to 211. And I was like, I can't do this. But she's having these flashbacks and her phone dings, and then like Wesley walks in and Wesley's like retexting Elijah. And Monica flips it and she's like, he's actually texting me. And she's like, if I go dark, like he'll get suspicious. So she like types out a text. She shows Wesley and he's like, okay, whatever. And so, she asks him if like they believe that she's there to fully take down Elijah. And Wesley's just like, no. And I don't really either, but maybe. And so he's like, if there's anything that I've learned about you, it's not that you're a victim. If Elijah really did terrorize you, I don't like imagine that you'd roll over and take it. And so Angela walks by and acknowledges Wesley, of course, just giving Monica like a look. And before he leaves, he looks over to Monica and he's like, I guess they do believe you. And he's kind of like got like a smug grin on his face. And I was like, Wesley, I love this side of you. So Gray's commanding the room with officers, the team, Monica. And, he's like, we're all a part of a small group that knows that she's cooperating. So like, if this gets out, we'll know who to look at. And Gray tells them that according to Monica, Elijah's been looking for new partners to help him launder his money, which is a check cashing place. And so according to Monica, Elijah's done his due diligence and he's like ready to finalize the deal. We'll be there with at least $2 million and with, be armed and have backup. And Monica's like, there's going to be at least 2 guys there for the backup, and they carry handguns with automatic weapons in the spare tire compartment. So Gray then like hands out this ops plan with an overview of how the day will go, and everyone's like phone numbers listed. Monica then like, this woman has balls. She like holds her hand out for the ops plan, and Nyla just looks at her, scoffs, and just like walks by. Like, I'm not giving you that, which also boss move. So Monica's phone rings. She claims that it's not Elijah, but like a meeting that, she has to get to keep up appearances. And she acts like she's texting back, but really she's like taking pictures of the list of phone numbers. And Nyla walks by her. Nyla had to have seen her take the actual picture, right? She had to have.
I don't know.
But like she walks by her, tells her to keep the phone close. They'll like be reaching out. And so Nyla and Angela are like surveilling this cash exchange place or cash checking place. And Nyla just asks if Angela believes this Monica reinvention. And Angela's like, I'd flip, like if someone was holding a gun to my head. And Nyla's just like, you'd be the one that would put them in the wood chipper. Like you would flip it here. And I just loved this little moment in them. I loved all the Nyla and Angela moments in this episode, but like this one was pretty good. And so Elijah's SUV pulls up. They have to get like a positive ID on Elijah. And they can't be sure that he's inside, but they do have intel that something's going on. So they're moving in. And so they end up arresting the guys who are making this deal and ask where Elijah is. The men claim that they don't know. And Angela like looks through the bag, finds $2.5 million in there. And the men just insist that possessing money isn't a crime, but Nyla finds an armed weapon under his clothes. And she's like, well, no concealed carry permit is a crime, but you probably have one of those, don't you? And as Nyla goes to escort him out, he tells Angela to worry about herself. And Nyla's like, you did not just threaten my partner. Like, they are partners, and they are badass partners at that. So then we see Monica like on this random sidewalk, and she's like having more flashbacks, and then like jumps when an SUV kind of pulls up. And so Elijah, I love how when he meets people, like he doesn't even look over to them when they're told to like get in the van. He's just like, get in. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know, this dude is very badass, but like also kind of creepy, but yeah. And so then like he mentions that the LAPD raided the place, got Wyatt and the $2 million, and that her meeting with him better be worth it. And so she just reminds him of like what she said, you know, that they would know if it was a setup, if they didn't sacrifice an important piece. And so like she threatens keeping all the police phone numbers to herself. Like she could put her and Elijah on a group thread. And Elijah like goes to reach for the phone, but Monica pulls it away, like saying that she got what he asked for. Now it's time for her to get what she asks for. And so like he claims that she's safe for now, and she sends him the police phone numbers, which I don't know. I wonder like if she even thought that it was a fake, but she didn't, right? Because at the end she was kind of amazed that it was a fake.
Yeah, no,
But
she totally bought it because she wouldn't have even bothered
yeah,
to waste her energy, in my opinion, taking photos
yeah.
if it wasn't worth it.
But like during this episode watch, I was like, okay, at least during the first one, I was like, is she playing Elijah, or is she playing the LAPD, or is she playing both of them? Because at this point, like she knows, you know, whatever she gets from Elijah, she's going to tell the LAPD, but then she's also going to like steer Elijah in a different direction to kind of evade the police. Like, I don't know. During the first watch, I was like, what is her end game here? So, you know, he claims that she's safe for now. She sends him the police phone numbers. He says that it'll make the meeting that they're having even more secure. They'll track the phone numbers and make sure that they're nowhere near the meeting. So Monica like reminds him that a meeting right now is not good, like with the LAPD being all over him. And so she recommends postponing a week, but Elijah's just like, if I reschedule, like Abril's gonna wonder why. And so Monica then gets a call from the cops, and Harper's like, I cannot wait to hear the story that you're about to tell about why Elijah wasn't there. And Monica's just like, I don't know why he wasn't. Like, you know, he doesn't really tell me these things, but he was pissed that they took Wyatt off the board and confiscated a couple million. And so Monica tells her that, you know, if she can't use the bus to build a case against Elijah, maybe the LAPD should reconsider her qualifications as a detective. And Nyla reiterates that like they need the intel that will lead them directly to Elijah. And if they don't get that, like her immunity goes out the window. So and Grace states that like that they knew she was playing them, but like it couldn't just be about getting the ops plan. Like they thought like there has to be more to it. So Nyla shares that the Wyatt thing was a good step, but Grace like he already lawyered up, so nothing else will come from him. Like we have to wait for Elijah's next move. So we see Monica in an elevator at the station, and Gray and Nyla walk in, and they question why the urgency. And Monica's like, I just found out about a meet at the Van Nuys airfield, and Elijah didn't say who he was meeting with, but her guess is it someone connected to Abril. And so she's like, you know, she gives them the time, and she says that she'll text the pharmacy phone with any more information that she finds out. So Gray's like, I buy the meeting, but not the location. And so he's going to call Garza and see if anyone on the federal level knows anything about Abril's movements. And so Gray and Tim are then briefing everyone on the meet details. We see the officers go into the airfield. But, you know, we find out that Elijah's team is tracking them, at least the ones who are using the burner phones. And so we know that the real target is Elijah's associate, Dalen, which they said Elijah's, but like really it's Abril's associate.
Because they're dating.
Yeah. So the feds like tracked her entering the country 2 hours ago. They've got eyes on her, all of that. And so they're like, she'll lead us to the exact meet location. Like we don't really have to worry about that. And so Elijah gets a call that Dalen has landed and they're 1 minute out for the meet. And so Monica like texts Nyla about the location switch and the meeting that's happening now, which is not a problem because Nyla, Angela, Aaron, and Gray are all there already. And so Elijah and Abril meet. The LAPD has eyes on everything. And he's giving her $8 million for 500 pounds of premium cut, plus $2 million as a fee to wash the money for him. So Gray like radios Tim asking if they're ready to move. Tim's like, yeah, but our radios just went down, so it's gonna be a minute. And Gray, Nyla, and Angela, like they all can't wait. And so they move out with Aaron. Gray tells Metro like just to move in when they can. So a shootout ends up starting. Abril and her guys start driving away. A couple of Elijah's guys are down, and Angela and Nyla are like on the hunt to find Elijah. So Nyla's like walking along, just trying to stay alert. But Elijah ends up coming up from behind her and taking her down, choking her out in a headlock. He goes to like shoot her, and then Angela takes a shot at him, and he like claims that she missed him, but she shot his arm. And so she tells him to get down on the ground or she's gonna shoot him. So like he starts to read off the headline that will show up, police officer or Detective Angela Lopez killed, her like longtime enemy or whatever. And so he brings up what she said when she was sitting in his kitchen, and she puts in the gun holster, like puts the gun in the holster, getting ready to fight. And he tells her that he's going to punch her in that baby as many times as he can. And at that point, I was like, this is not going to end well. Like, it's not.
The whole entire time, I was just like, as soon as like Nyla went to the ground, I was like, I don't understand. I was like, why? Why Nyla? Why? And I was like, okay, then we're going to have Angela. And I was like, oh my God, this is not going to be good. Like,
yeah.
The whole entire time, I like didn't tweet anything. I didn't do it. It was just like, jaw dropped like the entire time. I was
like, okay, where's Nyla? Like
someone,
literally anyone, Aaron, Gray, literally anyone. And so he like charges for her, and then Nyla comes up from behind him, or like he goes to charge for her. Nyla comes up from behind him, grabs a hold of him so Angela can just like beat the crap out of him, because Angela's already got in a punch.
Yeah.
And Elijah's like, that's gonna be the only one that you can get. Like,
yeah. Well, it was like, it was so dark. That's why I hate when they like do scenes at night. I mean, I like it. I get it. But like, I couldn't tell when Nyla got up or if it was just like a shadow from like Elijah like stumbling backwards or whatever when Angela did get the first punch in. And then I like rewound it when I was doing my second watch, and I was like, oh, I see.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Who I assumed to be Nyla.
I was like, you know what? This is like an interesting fight scene. Like, we've had some good fight scenes on The Rookie before, and I was like, this is one of them. I feel like not even that it was interesting, but like I felt Angela's frustration there and her anger. And then even Nyla just like holding him back so Angela can just like beat him up. Like, I felt it. And so they get him down on the ground, and Nyla's like, here, you cuff him, like you deserve it. And so once she cuffs him, Elijah's just like, well, once you find out what I did, like, you're gonna wish that you killed me. Which ominous, and don't like that. And so she's like, she stops because at this point his phone's fallen out and it's like started dinging because he's been getting texts or whatever. And she's like, what did you do? And so she goes to like check the text, and it says on our way. And she's like, on our way for what? And so we cut over to Wesley and the security guard, which I've forgotten her name, at the Lopez house.
Yeah.
What was that?
Charlie, I think.
Charlie, that's right. Okay. Yeah. Charlie and Wesley at the Lopez house, which, okay, at this point I was like, oh, this isn't going to be good because we had seen the promo. So I was like, well, let's see what happens here. So someone like knocks on the door, flashes a police badge,
oh, is that what it was? I couldn't tell what in the world they were like supposed to be disguised as.
Yeah, he had flashed a police badge, but he wasn't like in uniform or anything. So he was probably more of like a detective. And so she opens the door, and is taken out. Bullets like fly through the house. Wesley like, dives to the ground, and like another whole like fight scene plays out. And so Wesley like pushes him over the couch or whatever, and Charlie like holds her own, but he ends up sending her through the glass door. And this part was probably one of my favorite things because Wesley was just like, hey, like I did something. And he like throws, I don't know, I think it was like a glass vase or something at him, or not like at him, but the wall like behind him to like get his attention. And when the hitman like looks back over to him, Wesley's like, oh, gotta go.
Yeah.
And then he like runs to the bathroom to like shut the door while, the hitman like obviously gets in there. And Wesley just like pulls the towel rack like off the wall. Like, it's no big deal.
Oh, that's what it was. See, I don't know what I thought Even when I watched the little like fight scene, like behind the scenes, like how they choreographed
Yeah.
it versus how it was on screen, I still didn't like really quite understand what in the world he like got
Yeah.
off.
There was a lot going on, but it was just the way that he like pulled it off. Like it was so seamless. It was like it was already loose or something. So he like, he pulls Talbrak off the wall, knocks him into the other, avoiding all the knife stab attempts. And Charlie just yells down to Wesley and takes a shot at the fake top. And Wesley's just like in shock at what all just happened. So we kind of end on that, and then Gray like walks up to Chenford, and they're talking about other things, but like Gray's like, yeah, the feds have everything. They got off Elijah's phone, and with any luck, like we'll be able to pinpoint her main location, Brill's main location. And Gray's like, with Elijah in jail, like, his dealers will be climbing for his spot. And so we go over to Nyla. She walks into Monica's hospital room, telling her that she's like free to go, uncuffs her from the bed. And she's like, it was a smart move to text us at the last minute, so we couldn't say that you weren't cooperating. And Monica tells her that, she warned him as soon as she could. And Nyla's like, that's exactly what a smart lawyer would say. And so Monica just asks about the leaked ops report, and Nyla's like, yeah, I wrote a report, and I intend to keep it on my computer for up to 5 years. But if your name ever crosses my desk, like, you'll be charged with the slew of crimes. So between now and 60 months from now, Monica belongs to Nyla. And I also thought that was badass. I was like, you go, girl. Like,
it was so good, just because I know like sometimes Makia has to like change her voice, like tone to like fit that. It was just so good. I was like, oh, I got chills. Like, she was badass.
Yeah, so good. And so Nyla also just tells her about the Planet Ops report, so they never really trust Monica. And Monica is just like, yeah, this whole experience has been a turning point for me, and I'm thinking about turning over a new leaf. And Nyla's just like, I'll believe it when I see it. So I didn't watch the episode live, but I had seen this GIF that the rookie had like posted on Instagram or something before I had even watched the episode. And I was just like, oh, I know that this is about to be good if Nyla's got this sassy of a line.
Yeah. No, it was like, because I didn't buy it for a second. I still don't buy it because I feel like since Monica can kind of like go back to her like business as usual, it's like I don't know if she's gonna somehow like come in their crosshairs again.
Yeah. So Bridget Reagan, who plays Monica on The Rookie, she was in the first episode of The Company You Keep, which is another new ABC show with Milo Ventimiglia. If you aren't watching it, check it out because it is great.
I still have to. I wrote about it, but I still haven't watched it yet.
It's good. I mean, I'm behind, but I've watched the first two episodes and it's really good. But when she was in it in the first episode, I was like, well, at first I didn't recognize her, and I was like, she looks very familiar. And so I looked her up, and it was her. And then after watching it, I was like, so if they keep her on, she's not going to be on The Rookie much longer, right? And so watching this, I was like, okay, so maybe they'll set up for her, like, kind of disappearance or whatever. But then I think it was in the second episode of The Company You Keep or something, she disappears. Like, she takes the money and runs. So they could very well bring Monica back in The Rookie.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I don't know. Well, because like Jenna Dewan had posted something a day or two ago, like they were filming for the finale, presumably, and you got like ambulance, fire, police, like everyone there. So I'm like, I don't know if it's like, Bailey and Nolan get themselves into a situation or what, or if it's something.
Or if Bailey's just there because ambulance and fire are there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Or if it's something where it's, like a major case with a bunch of interwoven factors like this kind of was for them.
Yeah. Who knows? But yeah, like her turning over a new leaf, I'm like, yeah, I'm with Nyla. I'll believe it when I see it. So, yeah. But then Monica's in the hospital room after she makes a call telling someone that the feds have Elijah's phone. It's only a matter of time before they kick in the door. We don't know who she's talking to. And then she's like, yeah, let me know if I can be of any help. And we find out that she's talking to a bro. So I'm assuming that we're not done seeing Monica. But then after how these episodes wrapped up, I was like, well, no, we probably are then, right? But Monica could come back in a different way too. So, but yeah, so then Wesley, we go back over to the Lopez house. Wesley is in the doorway to their bedroom. And they just can't believe that's finally over. And Angela's like, yeah, I want to celebrate, but like these bullet holes are a bit of a mood killer, which like they're just adorable. Because then Wesley's like, well, I think we should keep them. Like, it's a great conversation starter. And I'm just like, you would say that though.
Yeah, I mean, I guess because you can like see it from the rest of their house, but I'm like, because at first I was like, who else is going in your bedroom, sir?
Right.
Like, what is this about? Then
but I guess like they did
right.
have bullet holes in like other spots, right?
Yeah,
but I'm just like
on the wall and the door, so it's like if you close it, you can still see it. But I was confused at first.
I was like, you would say that, Wesley. So then Angela's like, you just want to tell the story of how you fought off a hired hitman. And Wesley's so proud. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to work that into every conversation until the day I die. And at first I was like, he wants to tell the story of how he like literally threw a glass face at the wall and like the hitman like ran after him.
Yeah. I just thought it was ironic.
Like, oh, yeah, the towel rack. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then she's like, well, we'll patch up every one of them, like, except for one. And by them, and by we, like, she really means Nolan. And I was like, yeah, because Nolan is the resident contractor on the show.
Yep.
Yeah. So then Wesley's like, well, it's just comforting to know that Elijah is somewhere far worse. And then we cut over to Elijah in jail, who is looking at his cell, and like his cell neighbor says hi, talking to his library. And it's Oscar, of course, because like, why wouldn't it be? And Elijah's just like, yeah, do you have any revenge stories? And I was like, all right, so that's where we're going. Bye.
Yeah. I just, of all the people, of course it had to be Oscar. But it just makes it funnier because, I mean, the man has to make an appearance almost every season now.
Oh,
so it's
definitely.
like,
yeah,
of course. But I think it was Emily had like tweeted at me when I was tweeting for Shop Talk of if it was going to be like a Rebel reunion. And I didn't put like 2 and 2 together because like Matthew, like the actor who plays Oscar, was like one of the husbands on Rebel, and then James Fletcher's character was a second husband.
Yeah, that's right.
The Rebel character, and then Kevin Zegers played Rebel's son. So I was like, oh, maybe, but sadly, no.
No,
no mini reunion.
I know it was a crossover in like the least way possible. I mean, it wasn't like the storyline and like the villain characters, but yeah, like we had a mention of Garza and the feds and the rookie, but like we didn't actually see them. So yeah. But yeah, that's about it for the main case overall. So like we wrapped up Elijah's storyline in the rookie, and like it was nice that Angela got to arrest him, but I don't know. I feel like it's not totally done with Elijah, and I feel like he can get out still. So
I'm just so used to seeing like Brendon be on the show since he's been a part of it off and on for pretty much. I mean, like one. I mean, I guess 1.5 seasons, almost 2.
Yeah.
Now, since season 5's almost getting close to done, so it's like I don't know, because I feel like he's also one of the longest
villains.
Yeah, like is concurrent the right word? I don't think it is, but like the most often appearing.
Yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, are they gonna start a new villain now, like in episode 18? Like, because we don't have any villains that like will come into season 6 if we have a season 6. Like,
yeah,
I mean, Rosalind's gone, Elijah's in jail, I mean, like Oscar, I guess, but even then he's not really a villain. He's just like a character that reoccurs sometimes.
Yeah, and like an annoyance to
Yeah.
to Nolan, pretty much.
But then that's where I'm like, Elijah could still get out because like it's Elijah Stone.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like he'll just be sitting in his cell plotting revenge.
Yeah. Yeah. Because he asks for the revenge stories and like we already know that he was working with the Brill. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just it'll be interesting to see. So
Mhm.
so next we have Nolan and Celina, which I really loved learning more about Celina this episode. And
Mhm.
like I don't know, just getting to experience her emotions more, I guess. Not that
Yeah.
that's a good thing for her, but like it was nice for us to see. So,
Yeah.
yeah. But she knocks on John's door in the morning. Also, I love that like she just randomly invites herself over to John's house. It's my favorite thing ever. And she's like, yeah, I read my sister's case file and found out that my mom lied to me. And so Celina tells Balin, who are her pseudo parents, that the day that her sister was taken, their mom like sent them outside to play while she like laid down or whatever. And so they went out there for about an hour after she got distracted, like before she got distracted and Blanca disappeared. And so when Celina like finally ran home, her mom was coming up the street and Carlo had just said she'd just come out of the house, but like then she admitted to the detective that she had run out to the store and a friend that she had met there like had corroborated it. And so John's like, that sounds innocent enough. And Bailey just kind of like, she's like, well, maybe she was afraid like she'd get in trouble for leaving two young girls home alone. And so Celina asks John, like, if it wasn't her mom, if it was just some random witness lying to him, like, what would he think? And Balin like looks at each other. Bailey like gives him a nod and kind of like a look. And he's just like, I would question what else they were lying about. And I don't know. I'll just say it again. I love these three. They're dynamic. Balin is Celina's pseudo parents. And if Celina's mom turns out to be a not so good person, like Balin's there for her. So yeah. So then after like roll call or whatever, Nolan tells Gray that Celina found a discrepancy in the report and that it should be looked into and they need to speak to the witness. And so Gray's like, fine, whatever. Just give the cold case detective who's working the file a heads up. And Gray's like, just don't let her compromise her sister's murder investigation. So Celina's like getting everything into the shop. Nolan stops her to say that there's like someone coming into the station and that they need to talk. So they're not out on patrol, but like she's like, you got my mom out of the house. Like how is that possible? And that's not the case. Like Nolan also says that she's not going to be the first person to ask about the discrepancies and she has to be questioned by the detective working the case. And so Nolan's talking to the mystery man that she ran into at the store named Edwin Guzman. And Celina's just like, I already have a list of questions. And so she like starts reading them off and Nolan's like, wait, I'm going to be the one doing the questioning. You can be there as a fly on the wall. And so she like rips off the sheet of questions from her notepad and like gives them to Nolan. And she's like, fine, like, I'll be the fly on the wall. So Nolan and Celina walk in to interrogate Edwin. Celina introduces herself and Edwin's just like, I didn't see you since like you and your sister. And he just like stops the sentence right there. And so Nolan's like, we just have a few questions for you. Because Celina's mom has conflicting stories. And so Celina starts questioning him. Nolan pulls her back. And Edwin's like, I don't really know who Carla lied to. And maybe she just forgot. And so she tells him, like, Celina's just like, you don't just forget like where you were when your kid was taken. And Nolan like pulls her back again, tells her to go find Officer Thorson, see if he needs anything. And so once Celina like leaves, Nolan's like, give me a minute. Like, I got to go into the viewing room. And it turns out that Celina was going to enter. And so before she even like walks in, he just gives her a look and she leaves. And so he goes back to question Edwin, like asking him what him and Miss Suarez were doing that afternoon. And Edwin's like, I told the cops all of this back then, and like it should be in a file. And Nolan like reads off the statement and just tells them that like he recommends taking this opportunity to tell the truth, because lying once during a child murder investigation is one thing, but like to do it again is not good at all. And so Edwin confesses that he just didn't want to get Carla in trouble, and she was going through a lot. And so like he thought if he told the cops, she might lose Celina too. And so John was like, were you guys even together that day? And Edwin's like, well, we were, but not at the store. And so Edwin shares that Carla had been in a car accident a couple of months prior, and a doctor had described her opioids. And Edwin and Carla were both like addicted to opioids from different things. And so the doctors like cut them off, but they ended up finding their own dealer. And so that's what Carla was doing out of the house that morning. She was scoring with him. And so he shares that after Blanca was taken, Carla never took another pill. Like she quit cold turkey because of the guilt and grief. And Edwin's just like, yeah, I should have told the cops that the truth, but like it had nothing to do with the reason why Blanca was taken, which leads me to believe that like, is he behind this? Because how does he know that it had nothing to do with the reason why Blanca was taken? You know, like,
I don't know.
does he know more? I don't know. I just kind of got like a fishy vibe from him. So Nolan like closes the file, says that the investigator will be questioning him next, and you know, the one will be in touch. So he tells him not to share this conversation with Carla, and he just like, he doesn't want to add criminal conspiracy to the list of possible charges to him. And so he's like, you know, I won't, like we haven't spoken in years. Which also, again, how did he know that Carla has not taken another pill? Like if they haven't spoken in years, how exactly would he know that? Maybe she keeps him up to date, but like, I don't know, just kind of odd. So he wants Nolan to tell Celina how sorry he is. And so Celina's like waiting out in the hallway of the interrogation rooms, and she wants to know immediately what he said. And Nolan's just like, I have to get to the detectives involved first, but you know, I'll talk to you later or whatever. And so Nolan just asks Angela for advice on this case. And he tells her about Edwin, and Angela's like, well, if Celina knows, or she asks if Celina knows, and Angela's like, it'll open up a whole new world of suspects, like drug dealers and other addicts. And so Angela's like, talk to Carradine, add it to my caseload, I'll take care of it. So Celina asks Nolan what Angela said. He reminds her that nothing may come of this, but you know, she'll do everything that she can. And so he tells her about her mom, and she thinks Edwin and Carla were having an affair, but she's like, it can't be any worse than the scenarios that I've thought about in my head, until it is. And so he tells her about Carla's injury and about the painkiller addiction, and the doctor like cutting it off. And Celina's response is denial. And she's like, no, that's not right. Like, I remember the accident, but you know, I would help her with a few things. And Nolan's like, sadly it is. And that explains why she lied. And so Celina's like, I blamed myself all of these years, and now I know that it wasn't my fault, it was hers. So at the end of the episode, kind of towards the end, we see Carla step out of the shop at the station, and she hugs Celina tight, saying that like she saw the officer at the door, she thought the worst. She asks what's happening, and Celina's like, they're going to ask you questions about Blanca's case. They want to know where you were when it happened. And so Celina tells her that they know about the drugs, and Celina's obviously hurt. Like this entire episode, or most of it, she like had tears in her eyes. And so Carla's just like, I couldn't handle telling you the truth and like you hating me. And so Balin is like, at the very end of the episode, we see Balin like talking. And so Bailey asks how Celina's doing, and she's like, you know, will any of this help if they're tracking the associates? And Nolan's like, yeah, but it doesn't help that it was 15 years ago, and the associates have had plenty of time to destroy evidence and get their story straight. And so Balin just hopes that Celina and her mom can become close again. And that's kind of where we leave off with them. I have a feeling that like this is gonna set up for the next, like the rest of the season, possibly. Or maybe it's why Jake and Sava go undercover, to like help kind of catch the guys, maybe. I don't know. I'm interested to see. Yeah, it's it'll be interesting. And like, I don't know. While I was watching this episode the second time around, I was like, could this be setting up for, and I don't even want to say it because I don't want it to happen, but like, could this be setting up for Celina to end or to leave at the end of the season?
Oh, I'd be
Just
sad.
because like I could see her being like, okay, well, I kind of got like the information that I needed. Maybe I joined the police force for that. And I kind of got what I needed. And I can't be a cop because all of this is hard. But I don't know. I don't want that to be true because I want Lisette to have like more than one season on the show.
Yeah, I would like for them to do what they did with True
Aaron.
for Lisette.
Yeah.
And just be like, she's gonna stay. Because like I mean, she's still a rookie. She's the rookie now. So
but I could also see like, I don't know, I could see it happening. And I'm just like, I don't want that.
So.
But we're just gonna act like I never even said that. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of it for the Nolan and Celina stuff. I don't know. I feel like that they wouldn't do that to her because they've given us so much time with her. But I could also see it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I know that we had a lot of reservations. Well, I don't know about us, but like I know there were a lot of reservations with the fans too when Lisette was announced, and we were like, oh, well, she's gonna be with Nolan. Like, why couldn't she be with someone else?
Yeah.
Honestly, I've loved it because we've gotten a lot of screen time with her because of her being with Nolan. So yeah. But then next we have Chenford volunteering. So I did not know that this was going to be a storyline until we saw that sneak peek, and I was like, oh, all right, I'm here for it.
There were a lot of people that had some things to say about this in particular. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I want to know after we record.
Okay.
Because like I said, I literally stayed off of Twitter because I was like, I don't want to be spoiled.
Yeah, I mean, Chenford fandom always has, just strong opinions. To each their own.
Yeah. To each their own. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions, but like, I want to know after. Yeah. So after roll call, Lucy like catches up with Tim, and she's, telling him that she got mad at him after a Tim test, and she's like, I actually don't remember which one. Which
I thought that was so funny. I'm like, how do you not know?
Well, and like, how many Tim tests is he doing that she doesn't remember?
Yeah.
Because she was like, it was a few months back too. I'm like, well, what are we talking a few months back? Like before you guys started dating or while you guys were dating?
Of course, she pulled the whole Lucy lesson thing while they were dating. No, I don't know.
I know. Like, I need to know, does he do Tim tests while they're dating? And like, what are they about then? Like, I don't know. I need to know. But she's like, yeah, I signed you up to be a Make a Dream mentor, and totally forgot about it. And he's not happy about that because why would he be? It's Tim Bradford. Mm-hmm. So he's mentoring a 12-year-old cancer patient named Jordy Yates. And he starts to like walk away, but Lucy boxes him in by like making him feel bad. She's like, what's more important than like lifting up a sick kid? Like, what more important things could you have to do today? And so like, she then ends up starting to like walk away to go on patrol. And Tim's like, where are you going? And he's like, no, it's going to be you and I like entertaining our kid, our Make a Dream kid together. And he like then boxes her in by making her feel bad with the same thing that she just said. And she's like, yep, should have saw that coming. And so they meet Jordy and his dad, and this kid he does not seem enthused to be there, like at all. And they, like heard that he wants to be a cop. So they're going to show him like all of the ins and outs of the job, starting with processing, which means fingerprints and getting his mugshot taken. And this kid's just like, whatever, like, let's just get this day done. And so Chenford's getting his mugshot taken, and Lucy's like, I want to see your meanest face. There's no change in the expression whatsoever. And so then Tim's just like, okay, let's see your most miserable face. Again, no change. This kid is like a mini Tim, like literally so grumpy.
Fair.
And so Lucy's just like, it doesn't feel like we're making his dreams come true. And Tim's just like, it looks like Jordy hates us. Like, whatever.
Yeah, he's like, that's what it looks like.
Yeah. And so then Lucy's like, well, maybe he doesn't like having this picture taken, or maybe he doesn't feel well. Like he does have cancer. And she's totally spinning out about this, like totally. And Tim's just like remaining calm. Like their dynamic has taken a 180. And so like they go to move on and do something else, and they see that Jordy has disappeared. And so this sends them on a wild goose chase. And so they're like looking all around the station for Jordy, and Lucy just sarcastically says that she can't wait to tell the Make It Drain people that they lost Jordy. And Tim's just like, he tries to add some levity and like in a way. And he's just like, well, we didn't lose him. We just misplaced him. Right. And Tim's just like, he's probably raiding the snacks. Like that's what any other kid would do. And again, like Lucy's spinning out. Tim's all calm. And she even asks him, she's like, how can you be so calm? Like, what if this was your kid? And they like have a whole conversation about their future kids, more or less. Mm-hmm. And Lucy's just like, well, if we ever lose our kids, like, you know, I need you to take this more seriously. And Tim's just like, well, our kids would know a lot better than to pull a stunt like this, which, yeah, their kids would. But like, also... I don't know. I feel like it's too early to be having that conversation, but
that was
then again, didn't they have a conversation about like their grandchildren, like on the first date, or they were like, this is something we can tell the grandkids.
Yeah, it was Lucy's like casual mention.
Which I feel like that's
redo date.
Like, I feel like that's kind of like a typical phrase, you know, like, oh, we'll have something to tell the grandkids, but yeah, I don't know.
I had never heard of it.
I feel like you don't just say that to anyone. I don't know. Yeah, it's just kind of weird. But then like Aaron, which we didn't see much of him in this episode.
No, because I was like, oh, well, Celina's going to go hang out with Aaron. And I literally tweeted it, and then it didn't happen. And I was like, damn it.
It was a shame. Like we only saw him with Chenford and then with like the team while they were going to get like Elijah and Abril. But even then, like he didn't say much. And I was like, okay, I'm sad now. But he like walks up to Chenford with Jordy, and he's like, yeah, I found like this kid like wandering around. And Lucy asks what they were talking about, and Aaron's just like, he was asking me what my childhood pet's name was. And when Jordy is asked why, he's like, it's just for a school report. A school report on pets. Yeah. Okay. So Tim suggests like checking out the kit room next, where they get their war bags, and Jordy's like, okay, whatever. And Lucy's like, well, what about the canine unit? Like we have some cuties over there. And again, Jordy's like, I literally don't care. And so Lucy throws out taking him to the impound lot, but Tim's like, no, to hear my nephews tell it, it's all about Pokemon and manga with like ghosts on the toilet. And the more important thing here is Chenford had a lot of banter in this episode. Mm-hmm. Like, yes, they were helping the sick kid, but like that was able to give them some banter. And mm-hmm. Yeah, it was pretty funny. But so then like Tim turns back around to talk to Jordy, and the kid is gone again. Like this kid is like Houdini here. And so Chenford's looking all over for Jordy, even underneath the shops in the motor pool. Like Tim was literally on the ground looking underneath the car. And so when Gray calls, Lucy's like, do you think that he knows that we lost Jordy twice? And Tim's just like, stay calm. Like, it's fine. And so after Tim hangs up with Gray, Lucy looks so guilty, and Tim's like, I hope you're enjoying that revenge. And Lucy's like, I'm really not. And so Chenford finds Jordy at a desk Googling how to delete traffic tickets. And Lucy tells him that like he can't do that from those computers, and deleting them is a crime. And Jordy's like, well, my dad put me up to it, like because we couldn't afford all of the fines. And Tim then has no filter, and he's like, do you even have cancer? And Lucy's like, Tim, like, why are you asking that? And it's true, but like he lied about wanting to be a cop. And so he was like, I really just wanted to be on the sidelines for a Rams game, but my dad said that if he could get rid of the tickets, he'd buy me an e-bike. And so they're like, well, how did you get into the system anyway? And Jordy just shows them a post-it note with Smitty's login information to the system, which only Smitty. And the fact that his password was Smitty123 just makes it even better. Because mm-hmm. Lucy was like, did he really have to like write that down to remember it? Yeah. And then leave it on his desk? Yeah, mm-hmm. It's
Classic.
The most Smitty thing ever. So they're talking to Jordy's dad, and Tim's just like, you're a criminal and you made your son one too. And Mr. Yates is like, Jordy didn't know, but they bring up what Jordy did. And, so Jordy's not under arrest, but like Mr. Yates could be. And Lucy looks over to Tim with like a sad puppy dog look. And, just giving him one look, and like Tim's like, okay, well, you're not under arrest, but you are going to Daddy and Me traffic school and you're going to spend some time with Jordy. And so at the end of the episode, Lucy walks up to Tim's desk, telling him that it was a nice gesture. And Tim really just wanted to like put the dad in jail, but Lucy's a good influence on him. And then we get one last line about Chenford's future kids. And Lucy's like, you're going to be a really good dad one day. And he says that he's going to have to be if she keeps losing their kids everywhere she goes, which sweet, bantery, very Chenford-like. But like also kind of too soon on the Jennifer kids thing. Like bring back Kojo. He can be there for a baby for right now,
Yeah.
Yeah. But the rookie episode was good. There were a couple of listener thoughts, so we'll start off with those. Do you want to take us through Lydia's?
Yes. So Lydia had said, wow, that was an intense episode with Lopez and Harper taking out Elijah and the assault on Wesley. My heart was racing. Tim and Lucy losing their kids, quote unquote. That was very cute. Also, in how relaxed they were in discussing being parents. And Celina's story was heartbreaking.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It was a good episode. I thought it was a good one to like start a mini hiatus with.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Paige had said, Tim and Lucy talking kids. Oh my gosh. In all caps. Yeah. That was basically literally all I could think about.
Right.
So.
Holly had said, it was so stressful. I just bought 15 boxes of Girl Scout cookies. I mean, honestly, 'tis the season for that. So
yeah.
I can't say I blame you.
I mean, I bought a box of Thin Mints and did not feel bad about it. So, yeah.
Holly said, I honestly don't think I've been that on edge during an episode since Lucy's kidnapping / attempted murder. My heart couldn't stop racing until long after it was over. Yeah. It was intense.
Joycelyn said both episodes were good as always, but it wasn't really a crossover. When Brendon was in last week's episode, that was a better crossover, and it wasn't even an official one. I think Angela should have been the one to take down Abril. Yeah, I was thinking about it after I finished the episodes. I was like, it's a crossover in that like the storyline and the villains, kind of lead into one another. It was a better crossover than the Roslyn one, like in that Abril, we've seen her in the Rookie and then on Rookie Feds. But yeah, it wasn't a crossover in that like the LAPD characters were coming over into Feds and like Feds was going over into the Rookie. But like they didn't really set it up that way, I felt like. So
it just wasn't in a traditional sense.
Yeah.
That how people are used to.
But I will say that when they're not hyped up as crossovers, that's when it feels more like a crossover, which is odd. But I think like this one was better than the others in terms of the official crossover, just because the storyline was carried over better. Yeah. So
I just know because like if you call it just like continuity or continued story, it's like that doesn't flow,
right?
In ads. It's like a crossover, so I don't know if there's a different word that works or not.
But yeah, I mean, Angela being the one to take down Abril, I mean, it probably should have happened. I'm just glad that she was the one that took down Elijah. So
I mean, like since Wesley couldn't do it, like it made sense that Angela would be able to have that. So Mindy had said that Rookie episode was amazing. I loved everyone, but I think Monica, with a heavy assist from Nyla, stole the show. Those fight scenes with Lopez were just truly incredible. Wesley yanking off the towel rack, the Oscar and Elijah team up does have me worried, though. Fair.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of gave the Oscar and Elijah team up a little thought, and then I was like, No, I don't think that they would.
I just don't see how Oscar would like actually put forth the effort,
Yeah.
is the thing.
Unless he just has Elijah do it all.
Yeah, but see, Elijah doesn't, he likes to have other people do
Right.
his work. So it's like those two, I don't see them
I think that
meshing.
Oscar was just in there for like a familiar face for us
Yeah.
at least, and just
Mhm.
like a little comedy. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Monica with the heavy assist from Nyla stealing the show. Yeah. Yep.
Fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bridget was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Mariah said, I loved both episodes, though it was really a crossover. However, I'd like to see big rookie storylines wrap up on the rookie and not rookie feds. They need to let rookie feds find its own vibe. I can see that. Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel like they have done a lot of like crossovers. They're not like I'm sure that they are big in terms of filming and everything, but then again, they don't have many actors cross over. That could be a scheduling thing, but I feel like storylines wrapping up on rookie feds is just gonna kind of be like natural sometimes because
Right.
depending on the case, like the rookie can't always take care of it. Like if it's,
Yeah.
more like drug related or federal. So yeah, but I get that. So
Mhm. Bonnie had said loved Jennifer and the kid. Sick of ABC calling things crossovers though, when literally none of the crossovers have been true crossovers like we get with One Chicago or NCIS. Last night wouldn't even qualify. They need to let Feds find its own jam and not use the original for that vehicle. Major, the rookie storylines need to be wrapped up on the original as well. Both Rosalind and other major storylines were wrapped on Feds when those were central and major storylines for the original rookie show. And they should have stayed on that show.
Yeah, I get that. Like if they want to do a crossover, fine, but then like bring in a new villain or new like suspect, like have that kind of wrap up.
Yeah, I guess like I said, I don't know if continuities, I mean, that's not a, buzzword.
Yeah.
Really, as crossovers are nowadays. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I also feel like since it just kind of depends though too, because it's not like this is an established universe. I mean, it is, but it's still newer in terms of if you compare it to the franchises. I'm not familiar with NCIS. I know there are a bunch of spin-offs of it in different cities. I'm not familiar with their crossovers, but I mean, we both are familiar with the One Chicago franchise, and I know, but even then though, they originally only had 2 shows for a year. Yeah, and they still made it work. Well, but even then, they didn't have a lot of people come over though.
Yeah.
And it still worked.
Their crossovers, like pretty much up until the apartment fire one and then even Infection, were very rocky. Like they lacked the like the characters like crossing over. They kept up the storyline, but it was more like, okay, well, once you got to the PD portion, it was like just PD.
Right.
So I think like I'm kind of comparing it to the last 2 big crossovers that they had where it was like all 3 shows. But even then that's hard to say too, because they have a very different dynamic.
Yeah.
Not to say that like Rookie and Feds doesn't. I mean, they film on the same stage, but
yeah. I mean, unless because like I remember originally, like when the spinoff was even announced, I kind of thought, like before I knew it was going to be federal, I thought it was going to be like a rookie LAFD or like Fire. So it's like unless you bring in something like that, then it's but then then that would be like, people might think, oh, it's a copycat of, other networks, so I can kind of understand their refrain from doing so. But as we have a 3rd show, it's like you don't have that same foundation. It's not in the same way, which I think is fine. So like I personally don't share those opinions, but I can understand what people are saying.
And I don't watch any of the other ABC shows. Like, I just thought that there's going to be a spinoff of The Good Doctor called The Good Lawyer. So, I mean, I would
Oh
think they
yeah.
would have spinoffs or crossovers. But like the Station 19 Grey's Anatomy crossovers, I know that they do some. I'm not familiar with those shows, so I don't
I
know
mean,
how good they are.
I know they hype them up very
Yeah.
well. But yeah, I'm also not
But I
familiar.
wonder if it's maybe just like ABC, like they might just hype up the shows more than like the crossover. I don't know. Like,
I mean, that's true because I
yeah,
watch a few other ABC programs that I mean, you will like see commercials
yeah,
within other shows for
yeah.
ABC's additional programs. So
But then
yeah,
again,
they do
like,
hype it up a lot.
yeah. But then again, like Feds is so much to handle sometimes. Like it's something that you have to be paying attention to like at all times. That
Yeah.
it is kind of nice to have like a crossover where they do have like the major storyline that we saw in The Rookie and then they kind of wrap it up on Feds. So
Yeah, like I
it's
don't mind it.
yeah, it's
But
kind of like a catch-22 because like we want them to have their own storylines and we want them to like have a crossover. That's a good one, but yet like it's nice to have a storyline that we already know. So
mhm.
yeah. But Blessed Turtle had said we finally got some progress on the Celina front, and aside from a few, in my opinion, narrative inconsistencies, like for example, the ethic implications of Nolan being the one to question the man Celina's mom went to see instead of a detective. I overall loved the storyline and my heart bled for her at the end. That final scene with her mom was so gut-wrenching. Same. Like I literally just wanted to give Celina a giant hug because I was like,
Yeah.
this is so sad.
Yeah, that is true though, because they kept mentioning like, oh, we're gonna take this to the detectives, or oh,
Right.
the detectives are gonna do this, and then it's like,
Nolan.
gee, unless I missed something, yeah, he's not a detective.
Yeah. Yeah, it was odd. But Blessed Turtle also said Harper continued to prove how much of a smart badass she is when she immediately figured out Monica's game and in her and Lopez tag teaming Elijah to finally take him down. Hopefully for good this time. Literally, give me a spinoff of Nyla and Angela. Like, please. I
There
don't
you go,
they
rookie
can stay,
detectives.
yeah. They can stay in the LAPD Wilshire, like mid Wilshire station, but like just let them be detectives for a full hour and like take cases on because I would love that.
Mhm.
And they also said Wesley also got to prove that Lopez is not the only badass in the Lopez house. And watching him hold his own against the hitman was great. And he's definitely never letting Lopez forget that. He's not. He's really not. Um, they also said, finally, we have Chenford. This episode really solidified just how committed these two are to each other for me. Also, can I just point out how on brand it was for Lucy to get revenge by signing Tim up to do a good deed. Classic Lucy. She always brings out the best in Tim, and this episode was no exception. She was ready to throw Mystery Gates in jail, but one look from Lucy was all it took, and he folded like a pretzel. She brings out the best in him, and vice versa. That's why it worked so damn well. That's why they work so damn well as a couple. The playful yet serious banter about their future kids only served to further solidify it. Yeah. Literally, like Blessed Turtle summed it up perfectly as far as like the Chenford dynamic.
Yeah.
They also said, I can't wait till we get the L word from them, and hopefully the writers won't rob us by having it happen off screen, like with everyone finding out that Chenford was together. Still salty about that. Really wanted to see Lopez and Nolan's reactions. Yeah, I hope that we don't get the L word off screen. I feel like they won't do us dirty like that just
I mean, I don't
because
think so.
people have been waiting for so long.
I just wonder if if they'll be the type of couple that actually will say
Yeah.
the three words out loud, or if it's
Yeah.
they'll say it in
I mean,
other,
Tim's
like a different
basically
way or
already
something.
moved in. So they very well could have already said it to each other.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I'm still in the camp of I want to see Tim's reaction to finding out that Lucy dated Nolan.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. Like, I don't
Yeah.
even, I'm kind of over the whole everyone else finding
Yeah.
out. Like, they know, okay, great.
Yeah. I also
just want to
I
know
just
if
want to
Tim's
see
supposed to know that.
I just want to see everyone else find out that Nolan and Lucy dated.
Yeah,
Like you
I
said,
just want to know.
I'm a little over like them finding out about Chenford.
Yeah.
But I want to I don't know, for my own selfish gain, I want to see them all find out about Nolan and Lucy being
It would
together
just
at
be
one point.
so funny.
Yeah, it would be.
Just crack me up.
So, Blessed Turtle also said Chris was back but never interacted with Chenford, which was kind of unfortunate. Yeah, I would have liked to see just like him and Lucy kind of like check in with each other for some odd reason. I don't know. But maybe, I mean, Chris probably could already know about Chenford. Like, he works with Wesley.
I would assume so. I just
Yeah.
I just feel like I just feel like, yeah, he would already know.
Yeah. But yeah, that's about it for the rookie 517. Any other thoughts?
I don't think so.
Just that I want to give Celina a hug. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was so nice to, I mean, one thing I am salty about is the fact that we never really got a lot of like Vanessa Rojas background from Lisette's character on Chicago
Yeah.
PD. So like I thought it was nice that we really got it in this episode. Different show, different character, I'm aware, but still just nice to see her have a central episode.
Yeah. I mean, we got some for Vanessa Rojas on PD, but it was like one episode and done. It was never like carried through. And it's nice to see that they're carrying it through on the rookie. Again, let's keep her on the rookie. Let's not do what I said earlier. Because I don't want that. No one wants that. No one does. But yeah. So we'll go ahead and move over into the rookie feds now.
Yeah. So that one was 117, titled Payback. And so we're gonna start off with when they said ruthless gang leader in the episode description, I was not thinking, oh, that's a Brill until I saw the promo. But I still just like I just see them as like singular villains, like her and Elijah. I kind of forget that they lead giant groups of villainous people.
And they were once connected to Love Here. I feel like I have to go back and watch that entire thing again. Because it's been like 2 seasons now. And I'm like, wait, how is Abril connected to Love Here? And how is Elijah connected to them? I'm like, yeah, I have to go back and rewatch. But also that just means Macy and Jackson like go. And I don't want that.
Oh no. Sad. Yeah. But yeah, so we'll start off with that, as well as, the rest of the team kind of as Jennifer said, wrapping up this storyline on Feds. So we first see a priest begging a bro for his life in Spanish, which I'm glad that they had, again, the translations. Not that I don't know Spanish, but I was like, oh, they said father as in like he's a priest, like that, because I was like, I didn't really put it all together. But so he is begging for his life, but she says for him to forgive her because she's about to sin again and again and again. And she's saying this like as she's, I'm assuming, stabbing him, murdering him in the gruesome way that it was done. So that's kind of what it starts with pertaining to this case. And so they have to, in order to kind of get more info on a bro, they're going to talk to Elijah. And they want to kind of find out which one of his crew members, if any of them, were like gunning for his empire, really. And so that's where we had Brendon, Laura, and Mark. They managed to scrounge up a couple names. They had said like his top lieutenant, which was Hazy. But then Mark was like, no, I'm thinking it's gonna be Adalo. And but then they're like, well, no, we're both wrong, because it would have to be the weakest link, which supposedly is someone named Tito. But when the three of them go to talk to Elijah's more concerned about how they're still thinking like FBI agents and not thinking like a Brill, or thinking of, like, how she's staying one step ahead of them.
Yeah.
And because since she was dropped on her head as a child, she doesn't sleep ever at all. Nothing. So he's like, well, what does she do with all that free time? She strategizes. She, is a meticulous planner. So Elijah tells them that she probably has a surprise planned for their friends in Guatemala. And because Matt and Simone went down there on the jet to go see if they could track her down. But when Laura tries to call Matt, it's too late. Like, they've already stormed the house, and it's Simone that like finds Juan's body, but
Mhm.
I mean, presumably Carter was there too, since he was inside the room
Yeah.
when the camera panned back over. And then it was a very like bloody scene. Even had, writing in blood
Mhm.
and symbols in blood. So, and then I liked how it was Brendon that like translated the Spanish, the Campo de Sangre, which is
Right.
field of blood. And I was like, oh, you go, Brendon. Like, good for you, buddy. I was just so happy for him. And Simone kind of notes, because they're like talking over the phone, and Simone notes that like the killing was like the one of Judas, who hanged himself after betraying Jesus. And like I was like, oh my God, that's the guy. Like, the guy's intestines were said to be hanging outside of his body. And I was like, nope,
No.
don't need that. Ugh, like, no. But Laura kind of notes that Abril's not one to show off her kills. She's not really an exhibitionist. So then Mark wonders, well, why deviate now? Like, what would cause her to do that?
Mhm.
And so Elena comes back and discovers that the Aztec glyph that was painted in Juan's blood was like an original glyph, but Abril had added to it to kind of put her own spin on it. And we'll find out a little bit more as to why that was later.
Yeah.
But Garza and Simone end up speaking to Juan's sister, who reveals that her brother received an envelope with his old police badge inside, with that same symbol that was drawn on the wall. It was also drawn on the envelope. And Juan used to be on the police force in San Marcos in Guatemala, and apparently came up around the same time as Abril's father did. So Simone wonders if maybe Juan betrayed Abril's dad somehow during these policing days. And again, more bloodshed, because that's apparently what's going on in this episode. Because as they had mentioned, I guess they kind of mentioned it in the like previously on the rookie feds or whatever, that Dalen had come down to, well, Abril wanted her to come down to Los Angeles, but then apparently they had lured the feds back to Guatemala only to take off, and now they're back in LA again.
A lot of flying.
Apparently.
Jets this episode.
And I'm like, how do criminals get jets like on the ready?
Right.
Like, I know how the feds do.
Yeah.
But like, how did they must have.
It's because she's gotten Elijah's money or something.
Probably,
his
yeah.
10 million.
Yeah, probably. So we next see Abril and Dalen. They're finishing massacring a bunch of people at what looked like some sort of gathering in LA. And so obviously she's dead set on finishing this like mission for revenge.
Yeah.
And apparently they managed to kill off all of Elijah's crew except for Tito, which I didn't catch until my second watch. I was like, oh shit. So he has he has no one now. Even if he were to get out of jail, it's like, if you don't have it, like, he would have to literally start from scratch then.
Right.
Like, his empire would probably be gone, like his, the drugs, money, whatever.
Yeah.
And he also wouldn't have anyone on his crew anymore. I don't know. Anyway, so Tito's in protective custody with the LAPD. So the team reconvenes. They're trying to find the connection between all of this. They know Abril set out for revenge because she thinks Juan had something to do with her father's death, but they don't know who's actually responsible for killing her father. So they need to find out before she does. But until then, Garza tells them to call it a night, including his niece Elena, who has date night with her girlfriend Phoebe. And I was like, oh, yay, that's exciting. I didn't think
Yeah,
we were actually going to see it, though. I was
I
like, oh,
know.
um, but then it was like, oh, it's used as like a plot point. Dang it.
Hmm.
Like, I just want like nice date night, normal date night
Yeah.
on one of the shows, please. But no.
But then I also loved that we got to see Elena so much in this
Mhm.
episode because I was like, we haven't seen her in a little bit. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. So they're Elena and Phoebe are at a restaurant and they're talking about, taking next steps, and Elena's like, I'm not moving in with you. And Phoebe's like, no, I just might take a trip. Like, we're not, we're not jumping into anything major here. And so they're kind of, they're chatting, having a nice time. And we see that Abril and Dalen are watching them from outside the restaurant. And I think it was, yeah, Dalen snuck in to the restaurant and kind of bumped Elena's chair, therefore allowing her a couple seconds to install malware on Elena's phone.
Mhm.
And when she comes back out to the car, she kind of is telling her like, that was too close, this is too risky, you're too invested, and you shouldn't have made it personal because then you might make the same mistakes as Lafayette did, which I'm
Right.
assuming they mean make things personal, like with Angela. Like that's what Lafayette did to kind of cause
Yeah.
her to mess up. Um, but Abril's mind is made up. Like she will track down her father's killer no matter the cost. So even her girlfriend and like right hand woman can't convince her to
Hmm.
call this off. So she, yeah, that just goes to show like how uh focused she is on doing this. And so apparently Garza couldn't, had trouble sleeping the night before. Um, he was up thinking about the uh pitchfork that was added to Abril's death symbol. And so he did a deep dive, and it was a logo that was used by the DEA's FAST team, and they were stationed in Guatemala in the 90s. And Laura's like, AKA, they're the DEA's version of Navy SEALs. And Carter had said some of them were dirty, though, like they committed crimes like money laundering, conspiracy, and they essentially conspired with the drug cartels and like stole from them. So that's no good. Um, and so Elena found out that the patches were worn by a team in 1997, including Trent, who was one of the agents that like started the whole entire, well, not the whole unit, but just that particular task force that they were a part of. And so they've been working the case with him like pretty much this entire time. Although it was kind of interesting because we really only saw him towards the beginning when they
Right.
stormed where they where they thought Abril was going to be by storming her house in Guatemala. But anyway, so they have a person in mind. And so Simone wonders if maybe Abril's father found out that Trent's team was dirty and that's what got him killed. Um, and so Garza's ready to, load up the jet and fly back to San Marcos. But he's like, I got to do this solo because if Trent, senses an ambush, he's going to
Hmm.
clam up and take off pretty much. And so he arrives and asks to talk to Trent in private. And he reveals that he didn't kill Abril's dad, but he heard rumors about high level stuff, including murders, going down in a place called the Hornet's Nest. And he knows that all of that kind of high level activity was done by one man. So, um, the soldier they're looking for is Owen Ripley. So, did I just say, wow, yeah, Trent was not the head of the task force? I don't know what I'm saying. I'm going to blame it on me being sick, as you can probably tell from my voice being ridiculous. So sorry. Let me try that again. Trent was just one of the agents that was a part of the team that they were working with. Owen's the head of the DEA task force that they're
Yep.
on. Okay. Wow. Why'd you not stop me sooner? Oh my gosh. Okay. Moving on. Anyway, so Simone kind of wonders why a Brill would leave them breadcrumbs like that, though, and Carter's like, well, maybe she would use them to gain intel. And Brendon wonders, well, okay, what if she bugged us individually? And so that's what leads Elena to check her phone and discover the malware that was on it. And the camera cuts over to a Brill seeing Owen's photo on the DEA database. And so when Garza's team goes to mobilize, they can't really do anything because the DEA has shut the FBI out. And apparently Owen left work and ditched his phone. And so they're kind of out of options. I mean, later I'll get into why Carter goes to one of the other agents for help, but they kind of they're at a standstill for that moment in time. So Garza and Elena go back to the restaurant where Elena's date with Phoebe was, and he reminds her that no one piece of evidence is too small, and Elena suggests the security cameras. And Garza's like, it's implied that they had already checked for security cameras and there were none. And so, but Elena kind of points upward, and there's one that's kind of hidden in the building that must have been missed before.
Mm-hmm.
So they call for a warrant, but when they question why it's taking so long, Matt asks Elena to check the folder where the footage is stored, and the footage was uploaded 20 minutes ago. But they weren't notified, which means Owen must have turned off their access and took the footage himself. So he knows where Brill is, and so he's set on finishing this. And so we see they do pull up the footage. Brendon zooms in on the car's license plate, noting that it's owned by an offshore corporation with an address in Belize, but they also have a building in Los Angeles. So they go to storm that building, but starts out as a gunfight, turns into a physical fight before being a gunfight again between Owen and a Brill. Like, that was insane. I was like, no, okay, this is nuts.
There was a lot of gunfights and just shooting these 2 episodes. I was like, this is a lot.
Crazy. Because they're each taking shots at each other. But they can't quite figure out what floor it's coming from because this building has apparently many floors. But they do discover that it's coming from the 3rd floor of the West Wing, so they go up and try to stop all this madness. And by the time they get up there, Brill and Owen are they have fought for the gun, throwing punches and kicking at each other. But she's got him with I don't even know not a chokehold, that's not the word, but just she has the gun pointed at him, and Simone tries to talk her down. But Brill kind of, had said that her mom told her on her deathbed that Father Juan wasn't allowed at the funeral, so that made her suspicious. And so Brill's father was going to do the right thing, but then his friend turned him in, and she kind of jostled Owen a bit and was like, to this man, and meaning to Owen. So you can obviously tell how upset she is still about it. And Simone tries to tell her she doesn't have to forgive Owen, but that she could honor her dad by doing things by the book. And I thought it was great writing, because it's by the book, and she's like, I prefer the gun. And so Brill shoots Owen, which then Carter shoots Brill. And so it's, more bloodshed to kind of end the case.
Well, and a graphic way to end it too. I was like, I don't need to see that, but okay.
Yeah, it was a lot. And so back at the office, Garza talks to Elena again and tells her to forget about the, what could have been, because she helped make 2 very dangerous people, they're not on the street anymore. I mean, even though they did wind up dead. um like to hold on to that. And so like just he's kind of just saying, any kind of good victory to hold on to that. And so
Mhm.
it's a nice sentiment that they shared and they hug, and that's nice. And yeah. So yeah, but it was just crazy. I was like, I wasn't expecting. I honestly this is what I thought. I honestly thought Elijah and Abril's fates were gonna be reversed for whatever reason. Like
Really?
that, yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Because he literally told Angela, like, come at me, like, let's go.
Right.
I was like, this girl's gonna like really go for it. And I was like,
Angela like squared up. She was like, I'm
yeah.
not doing anything.
So I don't know. I just really, I don't know. I just kind of thought for whatever reason, um, I don't know. I don't know. Well, no, I guess that's a lie. I was gonna say we haven't really seen the feds like shoot and kill people. That's not true. We have,
Right.
just not as often, I guess. Um, yeah, I don't know. Or just I guess I thought maybe not so much their fates would be switched, but just I don't know if they'd either both die or both be alive. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I just wasn't really expecting the like one or the other.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but that kind of wraps up the storyline within like both within Carter's like grudge that I'll get into in a minute. It kind of I'll fill in a few other blanks with
Yeah.
him and Lind, but I mean, for the most part, that's the majority of the case with Abril. So she had quite an arc in Feds. Well, the rookie and Feds, but I don't know. Like I said, just wasn't expecting the ending for it. But
Yeah, for sure.
like Garza said, they had that victory, and so just gotta take the win, I guess. So for the Simone and Carter put them together because they're both dealing with letting go of some grudges. And so for Simone, her this grudge that she's holding kind of begins to take shape in the episode after she gets done playing a game of chess with Cuddy. And they mention how they used to play all the time when Simone would visit, and this leads Cuddy to bring up like his time in prison, and then that's when the name Benny Reynolds is mentioned. And Simone gets angry because Benny is the crooked cop who helped put Cuddy behind bars for a crime he didn't commit. And Cuddy tells her that Benny's on his deathbed, and but Simone's like, I don't care. Like, if you want to forgive him, that's fine, but I will not be going down that path. And before they can kind of delve into that further, she has to get to work. But later on, Cuddy does try to bring it up again, but she still kind of pushes back. Like, if she if Cuddy wants to go and help absolve Benny of all this guilt that he's feeling, then that's fine. But she doesn't want to be the one to forgive this man because she can't forget
Right.
how much his actions like hurt because her
Yeah.
dad was incarcerated for most of her childhood. But Cuddy mentions that if she changes her mind, he will be at St. Stephen's Hospital. So he kind of leaves that door open should she choose to go down that pathway. And she mentions it a couple of times in conversations with Carter at work too, which she was like, this was the man who put my dad away. How she can't wrap her head around forgiving him, even though Carter mentions that the only one grudges hurt is the person that's holding them.
Right.
So I thought we got like nice Carter and Simone scenes. Like
Yeah,
they're
we
like
did.
pals now. I was like, oh, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, like she wasn't like giving him crap this week. So
I mean, not so much at the very end though, because she was like, and you're the one that told me grudge, like to not hold a grudge.
right. I
But
do love
yeah,
though when they give each other crap. I'm like,
yeah, it's
please
so
give me
funny.
more of it.
It's so funny. I love it so much. And one of the kind of nicer scenes we had between them was like when she's beating herself up over the outcome of the case later on with how things ended with Abril. Carter kind of asks if it's because of what's going on with her personal life, meaning the Benny situation. And she kind of begins to realize that some grudges you might never get over, like referring to a Brill. So it's assumed that Simone doesn't want to end up like that. So she ends up going to the hospital to visit Benny and ends up like beating Cuddy there. So they go in together, which I thought was nice. Yeah. And so that was kind of, like I said, like there's like side storylines for Carter and Simone. So Carter's grudge stems from his old Quantico roommate named Steve Lind, and he's now the DEA agent who he goes to for help with the Abril or the Owen part of the case later. And I just, oh my God, I don't know if it is James's delivery of the first line of, you know what DEA stands for? Don't expect anything. Like, it was just brilliant. I was like, oh my God, it was so funny. It was cracking me up.
James is one of my favorites.
It was just great. It was so great.
Yeah.
I mean, like, he had like good lines like that on like Rebel too, but like he was like a lawyer on that show. So it wasn't like, it's just not the same.
Yeah. And on Good Girls, he was great on that show too. And he was kind of the same. Like he was an FBI agent on there. So
funny.
Yeah. And they were doing money laundering too. So
thanks.
Yeah, it was like a crossover, or it was similar, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, we didn't see him as much. I feel like we did for one season, and then they like switched to different FBI agents or something. But yeah, so
yeah. And so I love how they're literally up in the like going to take off in the jet, and Carter's surprised to see Lind on the jet with him, and it was, oh my God, again, just the funniest line. Like,
yeah.
You can take off now, preferably at 30,000 feet, and like literally fall off the plane. Like he doesn't care.
And like, how does James say that with the straightest face? Like, I would be like, I can't even get through this scene, even on like the 50th take. I'd be like, I can't do it.
It's just so funny. And so it's like it surprises him. Simone, like they're on the way to Guatemala to track down a Brill, and like Garza's like, okay, we have this case to worry about, like everyone just needs to play nice. But while Lind is introducing himself to Simone, he's like, hi Simone, let me just tell you, your training agent is an idiot. And I was like, oh, that's not good. Because like Carter can't like not respond to that.
Oh yeah, when I heard that, I was like, I'm just waiting for Carter to say something. Like, you know, when Brendon was like, first lover squirrel, nice. I was like, oh, let's see what Carter has to say.
Yeah. And he's like, I'm the idiot. I made it through the FBI Academy and you walked out. Like they were, friends and roommates there, but like Lynn just ghosted Carter essentially. And I almost wonder if like it was purposefully done just to serve the scene of like Carter and Lynn having to be the ones to wait together.
Oh, it definitely
Simone
was.
And Matt went to go talk, or went to go raid the home anyway. And so they're talking briefly, and Lind mentions how he didn't want to go along to get along with the racist, homophobic jerks at Quantico who tried to sabotage their trainings. But Carter didn't really see it that way because he just sort of kept his head down and did what he needed to do to get out and get ahead. And so, like I said, although they didn't get along for most of the episode, Carter does end up calling Steve for help to gain intel on what Owen's next move could be. So he's the one that mentions Owen's not on the run. He'll confront Abril, which allows the feds to get over to them. And so that was like a nice, like, not camaraderie moment, but just they kind of have a stepping stone in the right direction because they, could work together well now. And so at the end of the episode, Carter talks to Lind and acknowledges that, well, he may have gone along to get along. He blended in so much that he's gotten passed over for promotions. But Lind reassured him that you know, he has a good thing going here with, you know, his team's inclusive, they all work well together, people like him, they respect him, you know, like, so I don't know, I just thought that was nice because, you know, I mean, they kind of are cementing this reestablishment of their friendship in a way,
Right.
and they kind of solidify that further when, you know, they decide to go grab a drink. Obviously Carter's buying, but I just thought that was nice. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
like, cool. Because I don't know, like, we've seen Carter's like romantic relationships, but not like any platonic
Right.
relationships.
Yeah, it would be nice to see Lind again, like come back. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe we'll get that next episode with like Garza, you know, like someone who
Maybe.
he's, you know, kind of went head to head with sometimes.
Yeah, or just like another like yeah, coworker or like from his time.
I mean, because we even
Yeah,
kind of
that would
saw
be
that with
interesting.
Laura with Mark, but like obviously they turned into something else. But it
Yeah,
would
they
be
turned into something.
like the dynamic. It's interesting to see like different dynamics and how they kind of change too. So
Yeah. Yeah. So speaking of our favorite profilers that duke it
we
out every
finally have a
5
ship name for
seconds.
them.
Yeah. Which
And it's the best one. Like
it
I don't know
really
how we
is.
didn't think of
It's
it.
so good. I know. So bravo to it was Robert Bella that came up with it, right? Yeah. He like tweeted it or something.
Yeah, he was like something about like, you know, what's Statlas up to this week or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Statlas, how did we not think of that? It's so
I know.
good.
Yeah. Still don't know what Brendon and Mark's like bromance name can be, but
Yeah.
Emily just says like Atlas and Acres, and I'm like, okay, I'm down with that. Like it's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, so yes. So we first see Mark. I'm just so excited to talk about them. Okay. They were like my favorite part of the episode. I mean,
They're
aside from
so
like
good.
cracking up every time like
Their
James
first scene, I was like,
but
so this is where it's going.
yeah, I was like,
Okay.
dang, okay. Yeah. So we first see Mark show up to Laura's apartment, which that's a nice place she has. Like I
To me,
almost
it
thought it
looked
was a
more like
hotel.
to me, it looked more like a hotel room.
Oh,
I
okay.
was like, yeah, but she looked great. I mean,
yeah, because she's all dressed up or like dressed down, really, because she like pulls him in and she's like, "We're gonna spend the whole day in bed." Any comments, questions, concerns, and then he doesn't really say anything, and so like they end up, you know, they're making out, and like she feels him hesitate, and she finally gets him to be like, "Oh, right, yeah, he wanted more than just the physical connection they have." But again, before they can really dive further into that subject, Laura's called into work. So that was their mood killer for that. And I don't even know what to call Brendon because like he's like a wing man kind of for like both sides.
yeah,
Like it's so funny to me because he's hilariously eager in asking her like how her date with Atlas went when she comes into the briefing at the beginning of the episode, and she's like, he's so good, and it's like, okay, like thank you for that. And again, Brendon being hilariously eager and asking Garza if Atlas can come and play, and I'm like, really? Like, aka ride along to interview Elijah with him and Laura, and Garza okayed it, and I just love them, like, because Brendon, like, they're in the briefing room or whatever, and he's like, I know it's not how you wanted to spend your day with Laura, but at least you get to hang out again. And it's like they like Mark and Laura get to hang out again, yes, but also like Brendon gets to hang out with Mark, like he misses his friend. And I was like, it was so funny. And I just love how the bromance is canon because Laura kind of tells him enough with that, like we need to focus on work. And while they're researching Eliza's crew, it turns into a moment of Statlas simply projecting their own relationship issues onto these crew members' personalities, like regardless of the accuracy. And then of course, poor Brendon's caught in the middle. Like, which is the theme throughout the whole entire episode, really. And
Yeah.
just I finally got a screen grab of Kevin doing the thumbs up, so I'm gonna post that later at some point because he's such a meme and I can't, like, oh my god,
I
it's the
literally
funniest
love
thing.
that man.
It's the
Literally
funniest
love
thing I've
him.
ever seen. So good because he's like, are we still talking about the case? And they're like, yeah, of course. And they're not even looking at him. That's the thing. It's like Mark and Laura literally aren't looking at him. They're just
Yeah.
like, yes, but let me continue to stare down this other person. And Brendon's like, okay, cool. Um, and the funniest car ride scene happens between them when Mark asks Brendon how he and Antoinette are doing, if they're exclusive, like boyfriend, girlfriend. And Brendon hadn't considered it, but maybe he should consider it and make it official.
Hmm.
And then, you got Laura who's driving, which I adore that. Like,
Yes.
queen. But she's like, maybe Antoinette doesn't like labels. And then so again, Laura and Mark are essentially having this conversation. Brendon may as well have not even been there, even though they're
Right.
using him as kind of a, like, I don't even know what to call it. Not a pawn, like I don't know. I can't think of the word now. It's gonna bug me. He's just like an example of
Hmm.
like a hypothetical,
Yeah.
kind of.
He's like the use case
Yeah.
to their, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Mark's like, labels are great because you can define the relationship with them. And Laura's like, maybe if Brendon paid attention, he'd know where he stood with Antoinette. And I was like, oh, dang, girl, what?
Like,
Like, does she know
okay.
something we don't?
They were
I was,
projecting so
oh,
much. And I
yeah.
was like, I love it. But
Yeah, maybe
also,
projection. That's the
yeah.
word. Oh my God. I swear I'm awake. Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, Brendon's literally in the back seat listening to this and smiling, and like Jennifer said, like stating that it's their first lovers quarrel. And then he goes into, Brendon being Brendon and is like, I did a great Lifetime movie called My Couch or Yours. It's a terrible movie though, but it had great advice. Would you like to hear it? And Laura's like, absolutely not. Like, can everyone stop talking now? And she means everyone. So
Yeah.
literally, I'm sure it was silent the rest of the car ride there. Oh, it cracks me up. I just also wonder how they like film. I mean, obviously, I'm assuming the camera's outside of the car, but just like to get three people in a shot like that,
Yeah.
just like probably was interesting. Um, and so later on, after fighting all day, they're back at the hotel, and Laura assumes they'd pick up where they left off this morning. But Mark's not feeling it. And he even goes to grab his things, saying that him staying there isn't going to change the fact that they want different things. And poor Laura was like, don't profile this.
Hmm.
But obviously you can see that she's surprised and sad that he's leaving. So it's like an abrupt uh cut of that scene. And then a little bit later, cut to Brenson in the elevator and Laura standing at the front, and Brendon's sort of like a couple steps behind her, but like off to the side.
Yeah.
And Laura's like, are you going to say something, or are you just going to keep looking at me weird? And Brendon's like, keep looking at you weird. It was just like, they're just, I don't know. It was like such a not random line, but just unexpected. Like I
Yeah.
wasn't expecting them to like looking at you weird.
I just love how he was sunshiny in the beginning, and then towards the end, he was like, okay, I have to like calm it down here
Yeah,
because I can't be like too happy.
yeah, yeah. Um, and he knows it's none of his business, but Mark, stayed at his house last night, and he's obviously hurting. And Brendon thought that Laura said he wanted to be with him, or yeah, he wanted to be with him, and she's like, oh yeah, no, you're right. And then it like pauses as the elevator door opens,
Hmm.
and he's like, it's none of your business. So it was I was like, oh, she actually is admitting that he's right about something. Like, whoa, what is
Right.
this? And I was like, oh, no. Okay. I mean, he tried because he did make good points. Like, Mark
Yeah.
is, you know, upset, and Brendon did think that Laura said she wanted to be with him.
Right.
So it's like, why, he's probably thinking, well, why was I to assume any different?
Yeah.
And I don't even know if this was like because Garza was coming out to like brief the team, and that's why Laura like looked back like as she was walking out. I don't know if you noticed it, but like she would like look back a couple times as she got out of
Yeah.
the elevator. But I didn't know if, like I said, if that was like to look back at Garza or if like she was trying to see if Brendon was still like following her. But then you don't even see Brendon
Right.
like his walk from the elevator to his desk.
Hmm.
It just cuts over on the opposite side.
Yeah. She was probably
So I don't
looking for
know.
Garza.
Yeah. Um, but then you also like saw Brendon nod rather glumly when Laura states that Mark's probably not coming in today to,
Right.
like prove his theory. And of course, Brendon does the chair sliding thing a lot. Well, not a lot. I guess it's only twice, but still, like
Yeah.
he slides over to Laura's desk later on in the episode and tells her the plot of the Lifetime movie and how his character Larry was in love with Larissa, and he realized that the relationship was too important to mess up. But all Laura took away from it was that his movie had characters named Larissa and Larry. Like, has he ever done anything good? And I was like, oh, that, yeah.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was so funny though, because he was like the camera, like they did like the not bird's eye view, but like a wide shot or whatever, and you could see
Yeah.
like he's like tapping his pen or whatever, and then he's like, you talk to Atlas, and his like eyes shift over and she's like, stay in your lane, you're swerving. Like, no.
He was just trying to be a good friend by
Yeah.
asking, you know?
Mhm. Yeah. Uh and so he lets the comment go about his, career, because he knows she's hurting, but for her information, his IMDb page is legendary.
I love how he was like, I just have to say this. It's
Of course.
legendary. Like, yeah.
Of course. And so I don't know, like I just like how Brendon was persistent in
Yeah.
helping these two people he, has grown to care about, like work their shit out essentially.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, you also have to think like if Laura's not happy, then he's gonna have a hard time working
Also
because
true.
she's just gonna take it out on him.
Hmm. Fair.
And he just wants to make sure that Atlas is cool too. It's fine.
Oh my god, it's so great. Like they're buddies, and I just love that.
It's funny because like he like makes sure that he like keeps Laura and Mark together, but yeah,
Yeah.
Laura could like care less if it's him and Antoinette being together. Like she's like, I
Whoa, I
really
didn't
don't
even think
care.
about it. But she does kind of, I mean, like she was the one
She
that was
does, yeah.
like supporting it and being like,
Yeah.
oh, come on, Matt, you gotta let him, like go out,
Yeah.
for the redo date or whatever they tried. And like, but yeah, I feel like it's just their own kind of, they both have their odd ways of trying to like meddle, but not really
Yeah.
meddle, and then fix
Yeah.
things without really trying to fix them.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Of course, Brendon really did go above and beyond because I mean, the like tiniest little scene between Brendon and Mark was like so great next because he notices that Mark's, come back to the bureau and he thought he had a flight to catch, but he shifted it because he wanted to stop and see Laura, and Brendon has a feeling that his powers of persuasion did their job, so he's confident that good things will happen for Statlas. Even though poor Mark's like, or she could just want to end it. And I'm like, oh,
Like,
like,
no.
no, yeah. Um,
No, we finally got a ship name for you guys. No.
yeah, like, no, it can't be over. Um, and so I don't really know what to call the room that they go into. It's like the giant room where everyone like sits. And so
Yeah.
he goes into that room and he sees Laura standing there with a presentation on screen about long distance relationships and making them work. And she goes in to tell him that she's sorry and that Brendon was right. Well, not him specifically, but the
No,
writer
because
of
she
his
can never
lifetime.
credit him. She
No,
can never
never in
credit
a million
him.
years. And so the writer was right in that she does care about Mark as a person and like wants to make their relationship. She wants to make it official because it's important to her and she wants to make it work for the both of them so they can both be happy. But of course, there are some ground rules like seeing each other in person every couple weeks. And, they could even meet halfway, which apparently is Oklahoma. And I'm like, what do you do in Oklahoma?
How about she pointed that out? She was like, apparently it's Oklahoma, just FYI. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like, they could go a little bit further, like each way if they wanted to, I guess.
Yeah, I just don't know what in the world they could do.
Well, according to Laura, they could spend their entire time in Oklahoma just staying in that hotel room.
I mean, that's true. Fair.
So,
Fair. But see, then if they do the whole boyfriend-girlfriend thing, though, is it like, are they actually going to go on it? Oh my gosh, when we actually see them go on a date, that'd be fun.
please. Oh my God, let it be like, I don't know, somewhere in DC maybe.
That'd be cute. I like
Because
that.
she'll visit him.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
I would like to kind of see her out of her element. Like,
uh-huh.
Usually in LA, she's usually in LA. So I would like to see
Yeah.
her kind of go to DC, maybe to visit him for the weekend or something.
That'd be cute.
I don't know how they would play it into the show, but like it
I
could
don't even
work.
care.
It
Yeah.
could work. Maybe she's doing like a training class at Quantico and like she goes like Friday through Monday
There you go.
and she
See,
has
Jennifer's just
Sunday
writing
off.
the show already.
Yeah. All I want is one episode. Please.
I know, it'd be so good.
Not even a
Oh.
full episode. It can just be half of an episode.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're cute. Like, I mean, she goes into asking Mark if he'd be her boyfriend, and of course he accepts. And I loved, again, good writing on Fed's when she's like, too much, too little, too late. Like she like
Mhm.
really doesn't know where she stands, and he's like, no, it's perfect. And then oh my god, she has 23 more PowerPoint slides to get through, so their whole like kissing is gonna have to wait until she's done. So it's classic Laura to have that in a way.
Yeah.
Not surprised, really. I appreciate the detail that went into the PowerPoint presentation though. So I don't know if it's like graphics or like, someone actually like put that together, but bravo to the team that does that because they had like all the little writing and like the, be mine and like check the box,
Yeah.
yes, no, whatever. And I was like, oh, that's so cute.
I
Like,
know. And it's very Laura to do that, like you said.
yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And another random side note, I just thought it was funny how like Kevin posted that intro slide of the presentation on his Instagram story. He wasn't even
Okay.
in that scene.
I was gonna say, when did he post that? Because I was just looking on his profile. I'm like, I don't see it.
Well, it was on his stories.
Okay.
We had posted it. It was like from December 12th, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. But I just thought it was so funny. I mean, I guess it was kind of like in that moment where like Laura started to come out and then like Brendon walked away from Mark maybe. So
Mhm.
just like slide into wherever the other like set is maybe on that lot for the scene. I don't know, but I just thought it was so funny. Yeah. But I hope we get more I just want happy things for these couples.
Same.
I mean, I'm aware that apparently, maybe Brendon and Antoinette might not, they might be on the rocks again in the upcoming episode, but like, why can't we just have everyone be happy?
I know.
Just
That's all
for
that I
an
want.
episode.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all that I want.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I just really loved Feds. Not that I didn't like the rookie. The rookie just like scared me half to death. For like the second half of the episode, I was like
Yeah.
not breathing. So then in Feds, I was like, oh, okay. They have relationships. Okay, great. Like, give me all the, funny stuff. Yeah. So I don't know. Did you have any other thoughts before we get into the one listener thought? Or
I don't think so. I mean, it was just good. The
Mhm.
Feds episode. I liked like the main case was fine. It was good. But the Brunson and Atlas stuff, and then
yeah.
just this Carter and Simone stuff was like the icing on the cake. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Definitely.
We do have one listener thought. Mindy had said the Feds was also so good. I enjoyed seeing Lind back, and I was happy him and Carter could reconcile. I liked how Brill's story ended, and Simone trying to talk her down with her similar storyline was really good. I'm glad Mark and Laura were able to patch things up as well. Same.
Mhm. Yeah.
I will
Yeah,
admit, like at first I didn't totally realize what the Mark and Laura stuff was about, and then like after watching more of it and like seeing that it was more about the labels, I was like,
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense because Laura's definitely not one that wants, and that's probably to do with her past history too, you
I would
know?
assume. Yeah.
Yeah,
She doesn't want to be emotionally invested in anything
right.
else. So
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think that there's anything else. It's a good
Well,
episode. They were both good.
mhm.
So
Yeah. So with that, you guys can find us on Twitter at the Shop Talk Pod _, or you can email us at shoptalktherookiepodcast@gmail.com with all of your thoughts. And you guys can find us individually on Twitter as well. I'm at Carrie Hyman.
and I'm at JStarcade04.
And we're also on TikTok. That handle is the Shop Talk Podcast _ And if you liked this episode and Shop Talk, leave us a rating and review. It just really helps out the podcast and helps other fans find us. So,
Yes.
yeah. And since we're a week late in doing this, we only have, one more week
Mm-hmm.
left before the shows come back. So we don't exactly know what we're doing.
We'll probably do maybe like an episode from one of the actors' like previous work because we haven't done one of those in a while. So
yeah, fair.
but I don't know what it'll be. So
Yeah, but we will let you guys know when we know.
yep.
And maybe between now and then we'll get the rookie episode description. I don't know,
I
because
hope
people are
so.
wondering where that is, which I guess I can't really blame them because I
Yeah.
would like to know as well.
And promo photos, but like also
yeah.
that's a ways because we're still like 2 weeks out. So
Yeah. Well, when we're
we
recording
don't,
this,
yeah,
actually.
we don't really get that lucky. We'll probably get them, I would guess by like middle to end of next week.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
But
don't know.
yeah.
But until then, bye everyone.
Bye, guys.